So if you have calcium oxalate stones, what are the things that you can do naturally, to kind of prevent, right? So let's talk a little bit about that. So first of all, the basic core problem when you have calcium oxalate stones is your urine is very concentrated. So I think you're already doing that by drinking a lot of water, which is great. I would do that. The other issue, which a lot of people don't know, because when they hear calcium oxalate, they think the problem is high calcium. But what's happening is the oxalate is high. So the citrate is low. Okay. So usually that's balance happens. The calcium is mismatched. So that means too little in the gut, not too much. Okay. So and that's why I'm telling you to not cut back on the calcium. So how do we prevent it naturally? The goal is to have at least 2 to 2.5 liters of urine every day. Okay. Remember that the stone usually forms at night time, and the indicator that you are waking up dehydrated is telling me that you're at risk, because that means you're dehydrated at night, even though you're drinking a lot of water in the morning. So a lot of people think that they drink a lot of water, but especially if you have stones, you need to drink more water in the evening time. Okay. So add more fluids before bedtime, because the stones are formed at night. And water is great, but if you add citrus to your water, like lemon, that will be a great way also to dissolve these kind of stones. Okay. Adding more lemon to your water will help. And then, as I mentioned, how do you know if you're doing it right? It's just by looking at the color of your urine. So if it's pale yellow most of the day, and then you're good. You don't want it to be like dark yellow. That's the problem. Okay. So that's with hydration. Now let's talk about meal. A lot of people think that because it's a calcium oxalate stone, we shouldn't be eating things with calcium, but it's actually counterintuitive, and it's very critical. Low calcium diets actually increase the risk of the stones, because calcium binds the oxalate in the gut, and then it gets less absorbed and less in the urine. So you need to have more calcium in your diet, okay, not less. And how do you have more calcium in your diet? Yogurt, kefir, they are fermented, they are great if you can tolerate it, of course. If you have gut dysbiosis, then you might not be able to tolerate it, but if you can, then that's great. Calcium fortified milk alternatives. So a lot of people are lactose intolerant, so if you cannot drink milk, then even the alternatives would have like calcium in it. Take those one. And then cheese is another one. Okay. A lot of cheese. And in cases like this, I tend to supplement more natural calcium in food rather than taking supplements. But you have to aim for at least 1,000 milligram to 1,200 milligrams of calcium daily in your food. And I think you're doing the right thing. The calcium supplement needs to be, make sure that it's calcium citrate. Okay.
Citrate.
Salt should be citrate. That's very important. And take it with meals. Okay. Avoid large standby doses. By that, what I mean is, I know that you're taking 2 pills. So of course, reduce that to 1. But even those 2 pills, you shouldn't be taking all at once. Okay. But for you, I think you should just take 1, unless your blood level is like very low. If you want to take 2, just divide it, like 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. Now let's talk about oxalate, because that's where you don't know much, right? So you have to eat low oxalate food. You don't need to avoid all the oxalates, but the big hitters. And I'm going to talk about a few food items which are very healthy for you, but they have calcium oxalate stones, and then they're not very good for you. The big one is spinach. Okay, so spinach with calcium, oxalate, I would avoid that. Beet. Swiss chard, okay. Then almonds. I know we talked about almonds. I know you don't like it, so that's good. So almonds is we can avoid that. Dark chocolate has oxalate in it. If you eat a lot of sweet potato, that have oxalate in it. What's the other one? Cashew. I know that's a good nut to have, but
I know.
And I know eat a lot of cashews, so be careful with that. Okay. I've
Okay.
talked about it before. We can switch that to walnuts or something like that. Okay. And then greens are a problem because greens have oxalate. And even though the ones that I mentioned are higher, but all greens have oxalate in them. So what I would do is rotate the greens. That means definitely avoid the Swiss chard and spinach, but you can rotate your greens. For example, one day you can have arugula, then bok choy and kale. These are the ones which have low oxalate. So you rotate every other day or something like that. And don't eat it like all together. And pairing your oxalate with calcium will also help. Okay. So if you're making a salad, you can put some cheese in it, to get the calcium, so that it's kind of combined.
I can't do any of the dairy. I've tried everything. The gut does not like it.
But there are like non-dairy calcium fortified options also, I would think. No?
Okay.
Yeah, so try that. There are a lot of like non-dairy cheese, and make sure it's fortified with calcium. I don't have a problem with dairy, so I don't go in that section, but out of curiosity, I look around and I do see a lot of options. And so, yeah, try to go to a grocery store, like Whole Foods or Erewhon, and they would definitely have options, the non-dairy options.
Okay.
Okay, so that's oxalate. So, but then what you could do is another thing that we need to make sure when you have a oxalate stone is to increase citrate naturally. Because what will citrate do? So instead of the calcium combining with oxalate, it will combine with citrate, which is easily removed from your system. Okay.
Yeah.
So how can you increase citrate, which is actually to prevent stone? And the best sources are lemon juice, lime juice, oranges, grapefruit. So all this citrus things are very, very helpful from binding of the calcium to oxalate. What you could do is like you can take like half a cup of a lemon juice and dilute it in water. And then you can just juice like 1 or 2 lemon and just mix it in water and drink it throughout the day. That will to increase the citrate and wash away all this like stone from the kidney. And if you don't want to measure it, then just 2 lemon. Just take 2 lemon and squeeze them, and then you can mix it in water and just drink it throughout the day.
Okay.
Okay. Another one which a lot of people don't realize is sodium. Okay. So the mechanism is like when you have a very lot of sodium, like when you go to a Chinese restaurant, it's a lot of like lots of sodium.
Yes, yeah.
You go to the bathroom a lot. So the more sodium you have, more calcium is dumped into your urine. Okay.
Okay.
And higher risk of forming a stone. So ideally, if you are a stone former, like you said, you have 3 stones, I would keep the sodium level to less than 1.8. Okay. And what for restaurant food and even packed snacks, canned soups, dressing, all of these things, like we don't realize, but they have a high amount of sodium. So watch out for those things.
Okay. If I'm like grinding sea salt on something, is that high sodium?
At this point, I would not add extra sodium, like just a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, some people like a high amount of sodium for the taste buds, but I would reduce it, like just have natural sodium. I think reducing sodium will be important. Now, don't reduce a lot. You need to have at least 1,800 milligram. So you could have a little bit, but not like extra,
Okay, yeah.
And by the way, 1,800 milligram, that is more of a DASH diet, right? Like for people who have high blood pressure. And that's really just like half teaspoon. So it's not a lot of added sodium. The other one is animal protein. Okay.
Yeah.
So too much of animal protein, what it does, it lowers your citrate levels and it increases your calcium and uric acid. And that's why people who have gout, even for them, it's not good because of the uric acid, right? So you have to reduce the amount of animal protein, not to completely cut it out, but balance out the portion. Include plant-based protein because they are less in uric acid. So what are the plant-based protein? Like beans and lentils. And
Okay.
also avoid very high protein. Some people go on this keto diet, right? And keto diet is all about eating a lot of protein. And they tend to end up having like stones or gout.
Yes. Yeah.
So be careful of the amount of protein. Protein is very good for you, but obviously, if you are a stone former, it's not a great option.
Okay. Is that high oxalate?
No, soybean is good. It sets some
Okay.
protein, but soybean for women, it causes imbalance in your hormones. So I would say have it in moderation. Don't start having it every day. That will be a problem. So maybe once a week is good. And then the other days you can have beans and lentils. Okay.
Okay.
The other one is magnesium. So I know that you're already taking magnesium supplements, but try to have more natural magnesium in your diet. Because magnesium is going to bind with the oxalate and it will reduce crystal formation.
Okay.
So good sources of magnesium in your diet. Pumpkin seeds,
Yeah.
great. Avocado, if you like avocado, that's a great source of magnesium. And then green leafy vegetables. Okay, that's
Yeah.
good. For you, I would definitely do magnesium glycinate, at least 200. If you can increase to 400, that's going to be great too, and do it at night time. The other one is like also, if you're doing all these things, some people just have a poor gut handling of oxalate. They have higher oxalate absorption. The risk factors are like if you have SIBO, if you have had use frequent antibiotics or malabsorption, all of this, and even low calcium intake. So I would increase the amount of calcium in your diet, increase the amount of fiber, and avoid mega doses of vitamin C. That's another one I forgot to mention. If you take a lot of vitamin C, that can also cause problems with stone formation. So if you are a stone former, avoid 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. I recommend vitamin C for people, especially those who have smaller kids. You get sick. So, vitamin C will help you with immunity. But if you're a stone former, you should be doing more of like natural sources of vitamin C rather than taking the supplements.